Hi everyone. The fifth movie features the appearance of the most iconic Godzilla foe of all time, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. He made his debut in Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, and it's all right. Um, it's this one is definitely leaning more into the sci-fi side of things. Let's see. There's this kingdom and a whole bunch of assassins, Sardinia or something like that, and a whole bunch of assassins managed to make a plane explode, but the princess somehow escapes through a voice of a 5,000-year-old Venusian or something like that. And so just like a well, with a newspaper boy cap and everything else, she's proclaiming that the end is near because Ghidorah is going to appear. So what we have going on is a newspaper reporter, the assistant, the photographer, and a couple of other people trying to figure out what's going on with her. And what follows is roughly, I don't know, an hour of adventure trying to figure things out before eventually we get to the climax. And right at the same time, a meteor comes down that's magnetic and radioactive as heck. What could be inside this meteor? Well, obviously, Ghidorah appears in a truly epic way, and the only way to stop the true menace is Mothra in larva form has to convince Rodan and Godzilla to team up and fight. So it's pretty much a 2.5 against 3, 1 match battle, whatever. I don't know. Well, what happens from there is an interesting take on, I guess, monsters. I mean, it's like this is kind of when Godzilla is starting to become less of the villain. He's more like an in-between person. He's still a villain, but at the same time, when a greater threat comes, he has to put his differences aside with Rodan for whatever reason, and they have to fight. Well, Mothra is being the peacekeeper, if you will. She is the peacekeeper. And as one's looking at it, I'm just thinking, okay, so we've got some, I guess, interesting human drama, but the big thing that just doesn't work for me is and I was thinking about this, and just all this build up for Ghidorah. You know, it's like he's presented to be a threat, a true massive threat, but then we even get the preamble to the battle of how Mothra is trying to convince those two to fight, and the fight lasts 3 minutes. I'm like, that's it? I thought he was supposed to be this decimator, this colossal, unstoppable kaiju that needed all three of them, that wrecked all of Venus. And I'm like, what? To be fair, we do get nice destruction scenes. I will say that. Every time that Eiji Tsuburaya comes in with the special effects, it's always nice to see. But when the actual battle occurs, it's all this build-up. It's like, what's the bar? There's a build-up, and what's the result? What's the payoff? Well, not much, honestly. I mean, it's like, okay, we get 30 minutes of them trying to, with all the metal tools going towards the meteor and everything, and even the great epic reveal. Ghidorah, I mean, it's freaking beautiful. It's almost like right up there with the 2019 Ghidorah appearance. But here, like, we have the build up, we have everything going on. I don't know, it just falls flat. Unfortunately, this ruins it for me. It just felt so deflating, so pathetic, if you will. Not pathetic, but just pathetic. anticlimactic. The human characters, I don't know, they're okay, I guess, but I don't know, man. I actually like the aliens more, not only because they are at least have some, I don't know, dialogue about them, but they just really nicely. I mean, they even wear the wimples that Shakespeare wears for crying out loud. It's like this is supposed to be like royalty, so it's like an ongoing faction between one country and another. I wanted to see a little bit more of that. I wanted to hear at least a little bit of history going on. I don't know. I wanted to hear. It's like you have some potential with the human drama, with the assassins, but they're just there. Like the characters are just there to espouse and expand and have expository dialogue. And I don't know, man. Well, maybe one or two of them, especially the princess, the performance she gives of how she appears dead. I almost kind of think she took influence from what was that Audrey Hepburn in Roman Holiday, if I'm not mistaken, in a way that does work, and I do like that concept. I like her performance where she's able to, flip from being the princess to the Venusian and everything else, but then just all the other ones they just feel like duds to me. I don't know. The Peanuts who appear as the Shobi can do a good job, and you feel the sympathy for them. It's like they're small, they're not really frail, but when they're only a foot tall or whatever, you can't exactly move around. So we get to see them superimpose inside like a container or carrier or whatever, and I like that. I like that, and it's like Mothra is probably the other interesting part of this movie. As she's, obviously playing peacekeeper, trying to convince them to conjoin and trying to get them to join and combat Ghidorah. It just works out. It's like, yeah, she was known as this guardian deity on Infant Island, but now it works more here as she's got a different role, which I can't believe I'm freaking saying about a larva puppet. The things I say on this channel. Rodan. It's like we get to see some nice interplay with Rodan and we see some nice interplay with Rodan and Godzilla, and we get to find out a little bit. Like Godzilla just wants to be left alone, but the humans are always bothering him. So yeah, I can definitely see why in Rodan, like they're I guess I don't like this term, but frenemies. So it's like his little laugh, and he does so the suits here are a little bit more tame and kind of kid friendly. Rodan appears a little bit more muscular, and for the Godzilla one, they had to give him less intimidating eyes and a little less muscular in order to appeal to children. Which that's fine. I like that. Ishiro Honda, the director, said, yeah, he disliked the way how Godzilla was less of a bad person and becoming more of just an in-betweener, like being an anti-hero, I guess. And yeah, I can understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, it's like the series needed to evolve. Like I said, the closest comparison I made in the past is James Bond, whereas you have Sean Connery portraying Bond being more suave and yet still kind of serious and spy and everything, and then Roger Moore comes in being the playboy. All while Godzilla's going through all these changes and everything. It's like that's what it feels like. It feels like you need to have different personalities in order to keep things interesting, and that's what it feels like is going on here. But I don't know, it's like some of the movie works well. Like I say, the princess and the Venusian work well, but like some of the other human characters kind of duds. But I like the set design. The set designs are nice, especially in the hotel. I think it's also the hotel they used for the gore, if I'm not mistaken. And the office where the assassins are sitting, and they look like freaking Shakespeare. But it's got a very nice chair. I don't know, that chair just looks very nice to me. So obviously they spent some time working on the designs and everything. And the Ghidorah is freaking a menace, because in his description he had 2 wings, 3 heads, and sounds like a bell swinging the kind of like that. But I don't know, just, despite all that, with all the positives and everything, it's just it just feels deflating. Just how he gets defeated so easily, man. I don't know. I'm just looking too much into this, but it just the execution of the battle and everything. It's like with all the puppeteers for the heads, and I forget the actor inside the costume. I know it takes a lot, but it just didn't feel right. It just felt, I don't know. So would I rate this? Probably I would say definitely it's still a dang good one. It's like the introduction, a Ghidorah, and obviously the sets are nice, everything. Just that ending, unfortunately, it just brings it down to about roughly a 3 out of 4 for me. So yeah, do give it a watch.